there for you. So if you like free food, West 9th Moreland Market. Also behind us, we have CC's Chicken and Waffles and McCrory Catering. So check them out when you get a chance. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a Baptist minister. When it came down to enacting change, he was willing to collaborate across boundaries of race, creed, color, and religion. At this time, the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission is pleased to present empowering remarks from Dr. Dwight Townsend, Longley Baptist Church.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be brief today. I had some remarks typed into my phone, and unfortunately, I will be buying a new iPhone today because I broke it. You're supposed to laugh right there. However, at this moment, we are experiencing, as it relates to our world protest, a different type of movement, sparked by the lack of change in our justice system over the years. The movement that we are now experiencing has more fire, it has more passion, it has more intensity, but it also has more diversity. More people are opening their hearts and minds to understand the plight of African Americans in these United States, and why we have reached our limit. We are just one generation removed from the 1954 Brown school desegregation decision. Also, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. We are still in the fight for our lives. Voter suppression tactics are still in effect. Voter ID laws are still being drafted, and the disenfranchisement of the black and brown communities continue to be a hindrance to our influence on the election process. But if we want to see real change, we must vote. If we want to see real change, we must educate ourselves, knowing our status, researching candidates and their platforms, and by all means, we must get out to the polls and vote. I leave you with a statement that I often tell people when I'm speaking about this. Now is not the time to be apathetic. Now is the time to get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Townsend. Dr. King once said, "What are you doing for others? Everyone can be great because everyone can serve. All you need is a heart filled with love." And the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission, we take pride in honoring those who serve. We thank all of our volunteers. Let's give all of our volunteers a hand who've worked hard behind the scenes. Thanks to our volunteers at Rock Region Metro, the Rock Region Metro King Bus. This is the first time in history that there has been a bus dedicated to the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And you probably see it around the city. And we also like to acknowledge one of our partners, Mr. Columbus Brown. All right, Mr. Brown, I think I saw you. Mr. Columbus Brown with the Mosaic Templars, come on up. He's helped us out. Okay, so events like this are always fueled by people with hearts of service. So we see tents and we see people like this lady wiping the microphone out and the people coming out to help. Always remember there's a person of service in the background helping out. And so Mr. Brown, Mr. Kenneth Brown, we would like to thank you so much for your service and for assisting the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission and all that you do. God bless you. All right. And another thing, if you want to know anything about 9th Street history, Mr. Brown, he's your man. Well, at this time, we're honored to present another youth to present his talents to help us get excited and energized about November 3rd, Election Day, and also early voting starts October 19th. You don't have to wait until November 3rd. You can start voting early on October the 19th. That's another day to put in your phone, to put on your calendar to remember. If you want to avoid the long lines and start early, we strongly encourage you to vote early. And so we have Mr. Kid Kobe. He's coming to the stage for a little entertainment.
Hello. How y'all doing? It's kind of hot out here. Alright, man, look. I made this song like 3 days ago, so if y'all can turn up with me, that'll be alright. How y'all doing? Y'all good out here? I don't know, I can't hear y'all. Is y'all good out here? One more time, is y'all good out here? Oh yeah, I like that. Hey, these my brothers Reginald, this my brother Malachi, and we're gonna dance and we're gonna turn up for y'all. Y'all ready? I remember when I was broke, down on my knees praying for hope, yeah. Lying to people saying okay, knowing I got some time to grow, yeah. I got something I wanna sing, but it ain't even at my place, no. I'm from Arkansas on my way, yeah. It's funny that you said that, cause I'm growing up, talking about family loyalty, you know what's up. 5 steps ahead, I don't see that. Braving to that gun to your head and click clack. Man, it's the truth, not forget that. No man, really, what's the point in that? I'm seriously done with all that chit chat. First of all, some of y'all said that I couldn't rap. Now I'm putting it in a song, what's to talk about? Normally sit back and be the quiet one. Now I'm standing up and I'm speaking up. I know y'all ain't expect this, that's why y'all stuck. I remember.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get it.
All right, and to find out more information about voting, please log on to www.arkingdream.org. Election Day quickly approaching November 3rd and October 19th for early voting. It may seem far away, but it's closer than you think, so we want you to get registered, get prepared, get informed, and then vote. And don't forget to like the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission on our Facebook page. We're on our way to about 6,000 likes. And so to keep up with this event and so many other events we've hosted in the past, to see more of the work that we do across the state, please like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And coming up real soon, we have the aunt of Mr. George Floyd, so just hold on tight. She's on her way here real shortly, so we want you to hang in here. She is on her way, but we want you to stay here and stay with the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission.
But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains
Also coming up, we've got a concert by Miss Tawana Campbell. And more inspiring words.
Finds himself in exile in his own land. When the architects of our republic.
All right, at this time, please give it up for the visionary leader of the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. Give it up for Mr. DuShun Scarbrough.
Hey, everybody! All right, I brought my kids with me, but they want to be part of this organization. Get it in reaction, I'm gonna let you take it. Go ahead.
Do is win.
All right.
Got money
Come on.
on my mind, I can never get enough.
All right.
Every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
What?
And they stay there.
And they stay there. All right.
Stay there. Up, down. 'Cause all I do is win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air. Stay there.
Ludacris going in on the verse, 'cause I've never been defeated and I won't stop now. Keep your hands up, get them in the sky for the homies that ain't making it, my folks locked down. I never went nowhere, but they saying Luda's back. Blame it on that contour, the hood call it looting.
All right.
And I'm on this foolish track, so I spit my foolish flow.
Everybody,
Go up and down,
take
like
down for
strippers'
coming
booties
out.
go. My verses still be serving, tight like a million virgins. Last time on a college remix, now I'm on the original.
All right.
Ain't never count me out, y'all better count me in.
All right.
20 bank accounts.
Thank you. Come on, kids. Y'all giving it up for the Scarbrough kids. All right, so it's very important that we include everybody as part of voting in this initiative. So Kennedy and Braxton, come behind me. Y'all ready? Kennedy, Braxton, Kennedy. All right. My baby girl Kennedy, guys. Y'all give it up a round of applause for her. 7 years old, and this is my 6-year-old Braxton Scarbrough. Are y'all ready? Let's do it. 2, 4, 6, 8. Register to vote. Don't you wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. November 3rd. Don't be late. 2, 4, 6, 8. Register to vote. Don't you wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. November 3rd. Don't be late. 7, 8, 9, 10. All you need is a form and a pen. 7, 8, 9, 10. All you need is a form and a pen.
I'm Kennedy Scarbrough. I'm Braxton Scarbrough. And I can't wait until my 18th birthday.
Why?
Because I want to vote.
All right.
When I turn 18, I'm going to register to vote.
Why?
It is my right. It is your right.
Why do you want to vote?
Vote.
What do you want to do?
Vote.
What do you want to do?
Vote.
Scarboroughs, what do you want to do?
Vote.
All right, give it up for Braxton and Kennedy. All right. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for coming out. It's a great organization, great day, and everything turned out really good. And thank you for the weather. Thank God for the weather. So I want to talk to you real briefly before I make an introduction. And State Representative Joy Springer, is she around? Y'all give it up for Joy Springer right over here. Well, she alluded to something earlier. Did y'all hear her speech? And she kind of spoke a little bit. She told you that maybe I would share a little something that took place with me. Hey, Julie. Hey, everybody, give it up for Julie. Well, I'm going to share something with you I've never shared. And it's something that I think may be meaningful to many of you in the audience. So I'm going to share it. I am a man. You see the signs. I am a black man. I hold a bachelor's degree from Philander Smith College, a master's degree from Floyd A&M University, another MBA master's degree in Orlando, University in Orlando. I also hold a Juris Doctorate, a law degree. Now, I'm not saying that because I want my ego boast. There's somewhere I'm going with this. After telling you that, I'm still a black man. And I have a story to share with you to show that no matter sometimes how hard you work in life, and no matter who you are, there are obstacles that are insurmountable that can still happen to you. One day, many years ago, I had an opportunity to travel with the late John Walker, and he and I went to Louisiana. Y'all remember Gina 6? Y'all remember that we were fighting for Gina 6 and we marched. And there was something he said to me. He said that one day, DuShun, you have to be careful because you never know the same situation can happen to you. And it didn't hit me right then. I thought, well, this is Mr. Walker being overprotective. You know, I know him real good. He's watching over me. But then one day, while driving, and I know that media is here, so listen to what I'm saying. While driving in a city, I didn't say which one, a city right here in Arkansas, I was a passenger in a vehicle, and I was taking some coloring books to a school. In that city, I didn't think anything of it, but we were just being courteous and giving them some coloring books and giving an opportunity for kids to have coloring books. Well, I was riding and the gentleman that was with me was driving, and we were maintaining the speed limit throughout this city. And as we began to ride, I'll never forget, it was a 4-door white Camry. It wasn't my car, it was his car. And I looked in the rearview mirror and I noticed a car speeding up very rapidly. It was an unmarked vehicle. Shortly, I saw another one come from another direction. So I didn't think anything of it because we were almost out of the city. We had maybe about 3 miles left. So I said, well, it couldn't be us, you know, they're looking for whatever. As we were driving, the lights came on. And when the lights began to turn on, I began to get nervous. Now, how many of y'all know about being nervous when you're pulled over? We have African American, a black man in here. Do you know about being nervous when a car pulls? Well, a black woman, do you know about being nervous when a car is pulled over that you're in? So I didn't know what to expect, but the car then pulled us over and yelled on the speaker for the driver to stop the vehicle. Guys, y'all know right about then, I'm shaking. I'm wondering, like, hey, what's going on? We started to immediately blame each other. I'm looking at him, what you do? he's looking at me like, what I did? So as the car was pulled over, the intercom comes on and they began screaming in a high-pitched voice, the officers. And they said, hey, get out the car. Turn the engine off. He turned the engine off. They asked him to throw the keys out. He threw the keys out the window. They asked him to keep his hands out of the window. They asked me to keep my hands out of the window. I then proceeded to do exactly what they asked me to do. Remember, kids, in situations like that, you want to stay calm. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you become agitated, where you would agitate the officer, is what we're taught. I have partners, PCSO, and they do training on that. So we wanted to make sure everybody stayed calm. Well, the officers were a bit more agitated than we were. They began yelling and telling them to get out the car. As we walked backwards, I'll never forget, I never had to do this because I've never been put at gunpoint. We stepped backwards and they put my arms behind my back. They put his arms behind his back. And they would wind you in this position. So as I turned around, I was now able to see and visualize what was in front of me. Now, for those who know me, I'll tell you the truth. Sometimes you don't want to hear it, but I'm going to be honest with you. Joy Springer, am I telling you the truth? As I looked around, there were about 15 to 20 guns pointed at me. Pointed dead at me. So I'm thinking to myself, we're already nervous. But what if something were to drop out of my hand? What if he was to make a wrong move? Because I didn't really know the driver. But what if he were to make a wrong move? Or someone to say gun? We would have been lit up. This proceeded and went on, and then one of the officers came close to me. And as he walked up close to me, he said, I'll never forget, he asked me why were we in the city? He then grabbed my driver's license out of my pocket, because remember, I was fettered, I was handcuffed. He grabbed my driver's license, and I was so mad that I didn't want to say anything. You know, you ever be so mad that you just quench in and just be quiet? and it's almost, you get emotional, where you're almost about to just wet, but you gotta stay strong. Well, he grabbed my license and he began to read the license. He stopped dead in the middle of about to ask me another question, which was, why are you, and he stopped. I would like to think that God allowed him to read my name on my driver's license. He then stopped and walked over to his other officer, who was about 5 feet from him. Now, I don't call myself names. I'm known by many things, but I don't call myself names. Usually it's a commissioner or executive director. But I could hear him 5 feet away say, mover and shaker. Big shot from Little Rock. He then proceeded to talk to the other officer, and the officer rushed over to what I perceived to be the captain. The captain rushed over, they showed him my driver's license, and I could hear them talking, saying that they saw me and heard my name from the newspaper. The captain came over and immediately rushed over to uncuff me. And as he uncuffed me, there was no apology, but they said that there was suspicious behavior, and there was a call about an unmarked white vehicle, the same make and model, ironically, that had just robbed the bank. Is that right, Joy? Joy pulled the FOI on it and everything. So when they found out who I was blessed to be in that situation of who I was with little notoriety, but it could have gone another way. The faster they drove in to pull guns on me, that's how fast it took for them to leave when they grabbed my license. I was blessed because at that time, as you saw Kennedy and Braxton, this was sometime before they were born. And I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet my children. Or I wouldn't have had, they could have gone left where I didn't have an opportunity to be with my wife, or my son, who was young at that time and didn't have an opportunity, would have grown up without a father. It could have been a crazy situation, but I was blessed to be able to have the opportunity for God to show favor on me, to allow that to happen, because I never had been put at gunpoint before. Well, I say that to say that no matter how educated, no matter who you are, sometimes being a black man is still a situation where you just don't know what's going to happen before you. So I say that to say, oftentimes, for anyone that's pulled over, it's always okay to maintain a level head. Don't get agitated and allow the officers to conduct their job. Because most importantly, I'm in the middle of a city where no one knew me other than a newspaper article. I could have been one of those individuals that didn't make it to my house and didn't get a chance to visit with my family. And I say that to say that it's very important, guys, to make sure that you communicate thoroughly and be responsible. Sometimes not having attitude. Sometimes attitude is not always by the way you act. Sometimes it has to do with the way that you think and or perceive things. So it's very important. I thank you so for the opportunity. But that went on for about 20 minutes. 20 minutes outside in the heat around this time. And before I knew it, 20 minutes was up. Which leads me to my next segue. 8 minutes and 46 seconds. 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Today is about kicking off the nonpartisan effort of educating, empowering, and inspiring voters. We want this to be a springboard to teach you all the importance of voting as a result of the last Arkansas voter turnout. It was very low. I need your help. This is why I came out to partner with the ACLU. Where are you? Give them a round of applause. The NAACP. Give them a round of applause. Scott Hamilton, where are you? Urban League. Where is Scott? Y'all look for the helicopter. He's somewhere. There he is. The Urban League. Arkansas Better Dads. Pastor Jumper, give him a round of applause. The Little Rock Police Department. Pulaski County Sheriff's Office. These are the individuals that make a difference. They are with us behind the scenes. Sometimes, I want you to realize, officers aren't always bad guys. These are a lot of good people, and a lot of good people do community policing. And we're right here in the community. The Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission partners with these organizations all over the state. And we always have good presentations by them. So please stop it right now. Just give them a round of applause. Okay, to my next segue. 8 minutes, 46 seconds. A gentleman by the name of George Floyd changed the universe. And when I say the universe, not just the United States. We had folks marching from Berlin, London, Paris, where else? Germany. It made a difference and it created a movement. Amish community, the Hispanic community. It made a difference. I tell people all the time, I can't tell you how it is to be a Hispanic. No more than a Hispanic can tell a Caucasian how to be a Caucasian. No more than a Caucasian can teach me how to be a black man. No more than I can tell a pregnant woman in labor how to give a baby. I just can't tell you what it's like if I haven't been in that area. So it's important that we all get along. We all create a two-way dialogue. We all understand each other through our races, and we speak without offending and listen without defending. We take the opportunity to hear one another. And that's what today is about. Promoting change, promoting voting, giving you the opportunity to get out. We have Terry Hollingsworth and Deborah Mitchell over here. Wave, Deborah. Deborah, I've been knowing her for a long time, and she's always said to me, help people, teach people to vote for people, not just because they look like you, but because they think like you. You want voters to be able to change the world through your perception and become a change agent and allow you to matriculate in your endeavors by assisting the voting process. So help me help you. Help the young people. Help my children, your children, with the voting initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, I reached out about 3 weeks ago, in the midst of George Floyd's funerals. And the family was taking that opportunity to among themselves. And I really didn't want to infringe upon that. So I felt like I was walking on eggshells, and I didn't really want to reach out as much because I didn't want to invade the privacy of the family. But I put it out there, and Miss Angela Harrelson took the opportunity to accept my invitation and allow Arkansas the first place to visit since the funeral. Y'all give it up for that. So that is monumental in itself. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I had the pleasure of meeting this wonderful family, the George Floyd family. But I bring to you the aunt and George Floyd's first cousin, Miss Angela Harrelson, and Miss Paris Stevens. Y'all give it up for Miss Paris Stevens and Angela Harrison. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Anyway, my name is Angela Harrelson, and I'm the aunt of George Floyd, and his mother is my sister. And I just want to tell you guys a little bit about my family, about me, because there's so much stuff that has been going on, and I'm sure you guys have heard so much of everything. But anyway, George lived in Minneapolis about 3 years, and I lived there as well. But I'm originally from North Carolina. My mother had 14 children. She had 10 girls and she had 4 boys. And she raised us up in some very hard times. My parents were mostly sharecroppers. And I'm not sure if many people know what that is, but you know, sharecroppers, you do, all right, you work on the land, but you don't own anything. And my parents worked for years without owning anything. But my great-grandfather, Thomas Hillary Stewart, he owned his first land when he was 21 years old. And he was able to become a free man when he was 8 years old. So, you know, back then they called them the free papers, but my grandfather was able to tell me that history. But my mother, she raised us up to be more like submissive and passive because that's what she was taught. I mean, I grew up in the 70s. Now, this is in the 70s. I grew up where my mother taught me that you do not enter a white home from the front door. You had to go from the back. I was also taught that you address white people by their first and last name. You never call them by their first name. So this is in the 70s now, so that's not too long ago. So, but my mother, you know, she did that because she didn't really know any better. Because she had to drop out of school at 13 and raise kids. All she wanted for us was to have a high school diploma. She couldn't see college because she never had that vision for her. So her vision was for us to just to graduate from high school. So through all of that, when I look back on it, the reason why she was teaching us this thing is because she was trying to protect us. But what we didn't understand growing up is that the white race that was going on with the races, it was to keep us in our place. In other words, they didn't want us to be above them, but definitely not their equal. And my mother wanted to protect us that way. I remember one pivotal thing that happened to me growing up. And like I still say, you guys, this is in the 70s, so and people are really shocked by when I say that. But we weren't able to ride the school bus. Even though it was desegregated and they said we couldn't ride the school bus and that would have been done away with, we still couldn't do it. This was in the 70s. And we lived in an old raggedy house. You know, if you raise up down south, sometimes those houses are back in the woods and you have to walk all the way up to the path to catch the bus. And we did that. And there was one particular moment that we walked that path to catch the bus. When we got there were hands out the window, everybody's waving, "Bye niggers, bye." This is the white train, not the soul train. Now I don't know if you guys are familiar with Soul Train, but that time was a very popular show. This went on for several days. My father, he went out there to fight with the school, and this is in the 70s, fighting with the school so we could able to get on the school bus. Once we got on the school bus, this is what they did. They didn't allow us to sit down. So we had to get on the school bus, and my neighbor kids and us, we were standing in the middle of the school bus. And that bus driver, I'll tell you how evil he was. He would go around these curves so we could intentionally fall. My poor neighbor friend, James Rowe, bless his soul, he's passed away. All he did, you guys, he just accidentally just bumped that white person. It wasn't his fault because the bus driver drove around that curve so fast. And once he just barely touched him, that white guy stood up and took his open hand and just hit him as hard as he could. Hit him as hard as he could. And I just saw the tears roll down his face. I couldn't help him. There was only a few of us on the bus. As soon as the bus came to the first thing, we stopped, got off the bus, and again they said, "Bye niggers, this is the white train, not the soul train." I remember telling my mom, "I don't want to get back on that bus. I don't want to go through that." You know what my mother said? "You're going to get on that bus. Y'all are going to get on that bus because my goal is for you guys to get a high school diploma." And I'm thinking, I don't want to get beat up to get no high school diploma. But she was determined. So the next day, this is what happened. My mother walked with us. And she said, "Go ahead and get on that bus." So I looked back, the bus come, it stopped. And they were ready for us, you know. So I looked back at my mom, and she had both her hands on her hip, you know, go on. Me, my twin sister, my neighbor friend, we got on that bus, scared. We knew we were going to stand up. In our mind, we weren't going to sit anyplace. But what happened is I got on that bus, I remember heading towards the back. And guess what? One girl, about my age, maybe 12, she was white. And she stood up. And you know what she did? She said, "My mother said that's not right. They deserve to sit down." That's what she said. Everything was quiet. Next thing I know, legs are moving out of the seat. People were getting up. So I tell that story because it took one person. It took that white girl, no more than 12 years old, to stand up. And then when I think about my nephew, who laid there with a knee on his neck, 3 police officers now, well-trained, wisdom, older, not one could do anything. Felt they couldn't do anything. They just let him die. So that's why I'm telling you guys, sometimes it don't take a whole lot of people to make a change. Sometimes it takes one person to make a difference. And if one of those police officers would have stood up and said, "This is not right. You are not going to do this to him." If one would have said that, my nephew would have probably been alive. So anyway, I want to say it was a very sad time for my family. We cried many nights, you know, and we pretty much cried together. But one thing I know, that my nephew did not die in vain. You guys know him as George Floyd, but we know him as Perry because he's family, and that's what we called him. But he did not die in vain, because his death has created a movement all around the world that gives every last one of you guys the opportunity to make a difference. Laws are being changed. Statues are being knocked down. Confederate flags are coming down. And you have that power. That's why voting is so important, because what we're going through right now. So even though this has opened the door, we still need a conviction. We still need a conviction. And so a lot of people ask me all the time, like, why do I think people were moved by this? And I said, you know what? This happened at the time of a pandemic. People were lucky to be home. We call it luck, but it's really God. To see everything that no person, white, black, or white, can deny. That what they saw was inhumane. So anybody that watched that video that day that had a heartbeat know that was wrong. So the world was traumatized by this. We all were grieving, and we're still grieving. But you know what? We're going to heal together. We're going to heal together, and each and one of you guys are going to make a difference by voting and getting out there. I don't want to talk too long, because I want to give my niece, George's first cousin, a chance to say, but I just want to share you that story and continue to fight. Continue to fight, because justice for George means justice for all.
First, I would like to say thank you all for coming. We all have to unite and heal in each and every community. I come from a talk back church. So when I say George Floyd, anytime I say that, I want you all to say, walk the walk. All right? So we're going to practice. George Floyd. Good. All right. So I want to talk about where are we going to go from here. Is this a moment, or is this a movement? A moment is something that's just happening right now, today. A movement is something that's going to last. Today, tomorrow, next week, next year. So this is actually a movement. So what we're going to do for George Floyd is walk the walk. So that includes voting. So we as a community must educate ourselves on the councilmen that are running. You have to know what they're about, their views, do they equal your views, and you have to vote accordingly in that fashion. That is the way to start change. Voting for those who have the same views as you do, okay? We will have to start speaking up. Everyone has a voice. We can't be scared anymore. Every single person here is important. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not important and that what you have to say, you need to quiet down. We can't do that anymore. We can't afford to. George Floyd has changed the world. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to continue to walk the walk. Our family is going to continue. And now we have an extended family. In every single city, you all are extended family. The whole world is an extended family. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, my family, and to the whole world. It's so important right now that we stick together. African American communities, we have to stick together and love one another. If we don't love one another, how do we expect any other race to love us? So love one another. Black women, we have to stop being so critical of each other. How many people here have actually said hello to each other? Or do we just walk by? We need to start recognizing as a people that it's worth it. You're worth it. You're worth it. Everyone here is worth it. And we all matter. It's not just about Black lives. It is all lives. But the focus is on Black lives because we don't see any other race being killed on TV. So that's why we say Black Lives Matter. Okay? George Floyd. George Floyd. One more time. George Floyd. Thank you.